Shapiro melts down over Black Cleopatra.
Shapiro ever left the country? It's just amazing to me. Here's Ben Shapiro. I mean, it's like I don't even know how like these people wake up in the morning, and here's Ben Shapiro. He's upset about
that Reddit post from 30 seconds. Oh, I thought this had 21 hours. Wait, who linked this? Why the f did you link this? Hold on, you're getting a ban. Majority report unhinged. Whifford Mubbin. You're banned for 70. Why are you linking these old fucking Reddit posts? I'm supposed to be doing other shit. Factorio on Unreal Engine 5. Wait, what?
the casting choices of Netflix.
Oh.
And
do you think that he even really cares? Like, I think that there's a level of Ben Shapiro who says, like, I have to do this for the audience. I kind of resent this.
But someone playing.
well, it's all people. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
This is for the base. So he has to work himself into this. He thinks he's above it, but this is who your audience is.
yes. And what is stunning about this too is like how dry must the well be to be complaining about what he's about to complain about in terms of like the racist well that they're swimming in.
The notion that Cleopatra was black is silly. Again, you're allowed to do
What is he doing with his eyebrows? God damn.
this in Hollywood because, of course, the only thing that matters is
Big agree.
our weird...
I do photography and
America.
video work daily. The A7CIs, you could even get away with A70Is and no one would be able to tell them apart.
Thanks, Centrios. Hold on, I'll start reading equipment in a sec.
perception of what race matters. It's super, super straight. By the way, we actually have sculptures of Cleopatra. It's not as though there's like nothing to indicate what Cleopatra looked like. There's a Roman sculpture of Cleopatra from like the mid-1st century.
First of all, it's the left that's being parochial, not the guy that can't go on a map and see which continent is Egypt on. Ben, facts over feelings. Ben Shapiro doesn't understand that,
It's
like,
the north of.
Whoa. What is she about to say? Hold on, was she about to say the most retarded thing I've ever heard her say? That's a really high bar. She wasn't really about to say what I think she was just about to say, right? There's no shot. There is no shot that she was actually about to say what she was just about to say, right? There's no way she was gonna say that. There's no way she was just about to say Egypt is in Africa, so everybody was black like in the movies. There's no shot she was gonna say that. There's no, I am being unfair. Listen to me. I am unfair because I do hate this person, okay? I'm being unfair. There's no way she was gonna say something that stupid, right? There's no way she was gonna say that. She couldn't have possibly been about to say that. There's no way. There is no way.
that's being parochial, not the guy that can't go on a map and see which continent is Egypt on. Ben, facts over feelings. Ben Shapiro doesn't understand that,
It's
like,
the north of.
yeah.
Africa.
Good job, Bradley. He doesn't seem to understand that, you know, his own fanciful
I don't buy, okay, I don't buy this Destiny doesn't know history shit. I think collectively, you guys know more history than me because you're a massive people. I don't believe, as an individual, most people know anything about history, though. There's no shot. There's too many times people say retarded shit like this. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think my history knowledge is on par or better than, based on some of the retarded shit I hear people like this say. I don't believe it. No shot. How could she actually be that fucking stupid? Holy shit.
notions of what Cleopatra looked like. Maybe he saw Elizabeth Taylor at one point play her. That's informed by your culture. That's informed by what you were fed as a child, as opposed to the geographic location of where she's literally from.
How Africa is a, I don't know, people, Africa superimposed over the United States. Africa is a huge place. I don't think people realize because of the, what is it, the Mercator projection or whatever the fuck. I don't think people realize how massive Africa is. It's a big ass fucking continent. There's a lot of space here. A lot of shit going on there.
I mean, the idea like that it is, well, I love the idea like the Romans did a statue and told us what she looked like.
Game over. Famously, all of those portrayals of monarchs and emperors, like, they didn't fudge that in any way to make those guys look a little bit more handsome, or I mean...
Oh, is she implying that making Cleopatra look less black would have made her more handsome?
They probably made Cleopatra look a little bit more like the other Romans, because it was a Roman statue.
All right, let's go.
We actually have sculptures of Cleopatra. It's not as though there's like nothing to indicate what Cleopatra looked like. There's a Roman sculpture of Cleopatra from like the mid-1st century, around the time of her visits to Rome, and she looks Greek because she was probably Greek. You know, it was amazing. The entire Hollywood crowd went totally nuts when it turned out they were trying to cast Gal Gadot as Cleopatra. Gal Gadot undoubtedly looked a lot more like Cleopatra than anybody who's being cast in this particular production. Now, again, you can cast however you want, but I've noticed a certain pattern in Hollywood, which is that people who clearly are not black are now being cast as black. But if you ever did the reverse, then it would be, then no way, right? That would be racism of the highest order. In fact, you'll recall that there's this Shonda Rhimes show, Bridgerton, in which is Queen Victoria, is it? Well, I don't watch Bridgerton because I'm a dude and I have to. So.
I can't believe she said that. Egypt is in Africa. I can't believe she actually said that. 340. Okay, we'll come back. Oh, hold on. I can't believe she was going to say that.
LB to be complaining about what he's about to complain about in terms of like the race
matters is nothing.
It's the left that's being parochial, not the guy that can't go on a map and see which continent is Egypt on. Ben, facts over feeling. Ben Shapiro doesn't understand that,
It's
like,
the north of
Yep.
Africa.
Good job, Bradley. He doesn't seem to.
And I have testicles. So Bridgerton is
Pause it.
a show.
We're going to need a link for that.
I like it's an unbelievable statement. It's an unbelievable statement. I cringed when Emma smugly said that Cleopatra must look a certain way because Egypt is in Africa. Cleopatra came from. Not to mention the fact that. Hold on. I don't like the fact. I know that people are saying that like Cleopatra came from Greece and she was Greek and all this and blah blah blah, which might be true. But I'm pretty sure that northern sub-Saharan Africa, this whole Mediterranean region had a lot of different types of people that looked a lot of different types of ways. It wasn't like Cleopatra was just like a bronze-skinned beauty in a sea of all black people, right? There's a ton of like, this is like a crossroads, tons of different types of cultures and people and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some substantiation.
Did he prove it?
It's so interesting, like that he needs to remind everyone that he has testicles. But first off, the idea that yes, casting someone who was, we know explicitly was black, casting them as a white person would be more offensive than the reverse, is because of decades of denying black people roles in Hollywood.
Yeah, apparently this has 4.6 thousand likes and 16,000 dislikes. Yeah, I noticed.
On decades of this.
It's also historical fiction. It's meant. Bridgerton. He doesn't know anything about it, but he has very strong opinions about this show, which like seeks to cross race and gender, I guess, in terms of like bringing that kind of old school British style, like Pride and Prejudice-esque romance with different faces. It's historical fiction. That's why they are black. It's not meant to be historically accurate.
And whether it's the case that Cleopatra was Greek or had Greek ancestry, we only know what she looks like from these statues made by Romans, who are also, incidentally, not Greek.
Yeah.
And their depictions of who Cleopatra were, it's an interpretation. It is a sense of like the society. I mean, it's not a big deal to Ben Shapiro, but it's a big enough deal to talk about and use it as an example of further white, like reverse racism.
Yeah,
this is
has
like,
he ever been in a Korean church? They sometimes have Jesus depicted as Korean, but like for the most part, Jesus has been depicted as white and blonde and blue-eyed, which we know is not what he would have looked like. It's because these older institutions made these mythological, almost historical figures into visions of what they looked like. I mean, and he knows this. He's playing dumb for his audience.
But also, even if someone mentions, I just saw this in the YouTube chat, but even if she were, I think she might have been ethnically Macedonian and then it was in Egypt, like even if she was Greek, Macedonian, whatever, the idea that like that means she's white, or like white presenting, like if she was Greek and Macedonian, she's not gonna look like JD Vance. Like,
No.
Yeah, exactly.
they have darker pigments too.
Show, Bridgerton, in which is Queen Victoria, is it? Well, I don't watch Bridgerton because I'm a dude and I have testicles. So Bridgerton is a show for women and also a racially strange show in which a bunch of white people are cast as black people, sort of like Hamilton. A bunch of white people are cast as people of color and all the rest. And again, if we're just going to race neutral.
All this stuff, what is wrong for white people to do, but it is okay for black people to do, seems like it's getting a bit out of hand. No, I know reverse. So there's several back and forth posts that were on my subreddit that I thought were really, really interesting. Somebody made a long post about it. The Cleopatra poster from the history subreddit made a response to them or whatever. There is one thing that feels a little bit cringe that I kind of sort of agree on. I should have more examples of this, but it does kind of feel like, so white people, I feel like white people have this tendency. Well, I felt like white people have a tendency to overwrite all the accomplishments of minorities. Everything good is white. Everything came from white people. Who cares what contributions women or black people or Arabs or whatever made to any field? Fuck them all, right? And that's not good. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that, right? We should acknowledge and respect and revere the contributions of minority groups historically to the sciences and the arts and everything, right? But now it feels like there's this reverse, like Afrocentric history going on where actually everything actually came from Africa. Everything actually came from black people. All of these inventions from white people, it was all stolen from black, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, hold on, Chief, all right? I don't know if that's necessarily true, too, right? This kind of like rewriting is this like Afrocentric history kind of thing is kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It feels a little cringe, but especially... Oh yeah, somebody said Jada in an interview was on some black Israelite shit too. Yeah, when you start to learn like that some of these people are actually like black separatists, black supremacists, black people, it feels like really weird too, you know?
Casting on everything. I'm here for it. Fine, all right, that's cool. But that also means that Ryan Gosling needs to be up for Martin Luther King. Right? It also means that we're going to need Christian Bale as like Booker T. Washington. Like either you do it or you don't. Okay, you don't get to make up. In this particular case, it's even worse because they're actively trying to claim a thing that was not true for purposes presumably of suggesting that there was a whitewashing of Cleopatra's history. That there was an attempt to whitewash Cleopatra by turning her into a white lady, but actually she was probably a black lady.
Again.
And then something that they're not going to talk about here either, or it seems like they're not going to talk about, that the black guy that I talked to a few days ago, he was more right than I probably gave him credit for, but I pushed back because I feel like people take this argument in weird ways. Racism was not invented in like the 1600s. That's true, okay? We've always had racism in human history. But the category of like black and white was probably a relatively recent invention. If you go back thousands of years, I don't think there's any historical or archaeological evidence of people being like, oh, these are white people and these are black people. So historically, when you talk about something like Cleopatra, it probably doesn't make much sense. It's like, oh no, she would have been white or she would have been black. Because I don't think that people broadly had those characters. Now, there might be people that look a lot different, or they got really dark skin, or they're darker, or they're white, or whatever, sure, lighter, or whatever, sure. But the category of like, it's a white person, or she was a black person, or whatever, those rigid categorizations of people, I don't think there's any evidence for that existing. So it's kind of weird to speak about Cleopatra in terms of being white or being black, rather than being like Mediterranean or Greek origin or whatever the fuck, you know.
The idea of like, I don't think we're going to see, people portraying Jimmy Carter. Like Denzel Washington's not going to play Jimmy Carter. I don't think that's going to happen. The idea that it is such an abomination. Like by his standards, there should be only a Macedonian actress.
The guy Destiny's argument was trying to make this exact point, and he just denied it the whole time. Then 5 minutes after we say the exact same thing, LeMayo. No, what I fight against the people that say that the category of race was created. I permabanned you because I literally just explained what the issue was and why. I literally just said that I was probably more right than I gave him credit for. Don't ever come back to my chat. Bye. Fucking retard.
Should play Cleopatra. It's just absurd. Do you think the same height that the actress who has played Cleopatra has ever been the same height as Cleopatra was? I mean, honestly, like this is just insane.
Yeah.
But they've got to hit their quota of racist stuff on the show on a daily basis. And the best they can do is like, let's get the Cleopatra thing. Let's just do that. Is there another show that I can also show how masculine I am to cite and remind
that he
everybody
doesn't
I have
watch?
testicles?
That he doesn't watch, but he has strong opinions about it. I mean, sounds like you might have a good sense of what's on there. Ben.
It's just also I said this I think last week too, but it's like for people who seem to resent and hate like Hollywood elites and like
oh my God,
like left wing pop culture. I mean, they're obsessed with it.
No. This is I mean, I don't even know that it's really that repressed. His desire to have been a Hollywood writer and to be in Hollywood, it's the same exact disease that Andrew Breitbart had. He hated the fact that all the celebrities that he so desperately wanted to be chummy with thought he was a moron. Hated it. Shapiro's the exact same way. So desperate. He would give this up in a heartbeat to be like a, considered funny or a writer in on a sitcom. Like it would happen so fast, it would be blinding.
Steve Bannon was in the movie industry too.
Well, Steve Bannon was just a
I know, but
a money producer who had luckily lent some money to Castle Rock and got part of the Seinfeld stuff.
But Michael Knowles, like Ruben,
yes.
like, they're all like, a bunch of them are like kind of sort of reformed. Like,
well, no, they didn't go.
Damn, they got blown up in their replies. Emma, if Egypt being in Africa translates to it being black, then Iran being in Asia translates to looking Chinese. All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.